Hi and welcome to the second Dark Souls PvP showcase. So, shout out to DTB6 from Instagram, which basically gave us the motivation to do this video. He says he wanted a dex build, so here you go. This build is pretty simple really, but then we'll just get into the equipment now. So it's based on the Shotel, so we've got a plus 15 Shotel, and then we've got the Grasscrest Shield and the Talisman, Mask of the Child, Sage Robe, Night Gauntlets and Crimson Waistcloth. The armour was optimised with Mugen Monkey, and our rings, we have the Ring of Favour and Protection and the Wolf Ring, as the Poise, Extra Health and Vitality were quite necessary. So with the items, we've got the Gold Pine Resin, so I can rebuff the Shotel if I need to, the Red Eye Orb, the Green Blossom, Poison Throne Knives and Loy's Talismans. Next we see our stats. We're doing level 100 build. The reason for that is because I don't like playing level 120. I like level 100 just myself. I like the fact that it means I need to make compromises on certain stats. I can't just do what I need to and then just pump the rest into vitality and endurance. And I guess in a sense it's like keeping artistic integrity, if we look at it that way. Plus, level 100 is the maximum for the Battle of Stoicism bracket. I think it's level 51 to 100 or something like that. So this means that I'm in that bracket and I don't want to play in a higher one. So if we look at our stats, we've got 32 vitality, 14 attunement, 28 endurance, 14 strength, 45 dex, 11 resistance, 8 intelligence, so gives a fuck about them, and then we've got 30 faith. Faith dex builds are my favourite builds, definitely, and the vitality is a decent amount with the Ring of Favour and Protection. I'm totally fine with that amount, and the 28 endurance allows me to do 6 or 7 swings with the Shotel. 14 strength just based so I can use the Shotel. 45 dex simply because the Shotel gets dex scaling, and the 45 dex means I can cast my miracles a little bit quicker. And then 30 faith. Enough to use the Sunlight Blade, enough to use Wrath of the Gods, Tranquil Walk of Peace. Again, I wanted to keep the level down, so 30 is the lowest I'm willing to go and the highest I'm willing to go, if that makes sense as well, so whatever. So as you can see, there's our basic stats. I mean, not a huge amount of attack from the Shotel, but when you're using Sunlight Blade it gets some unbelievable buff. And okay, the Sunlight Blade is second to Dark Moon Blade, but I want to be able to invade using the Red Eye Orb because I didn't want to spend forever doing this video, so yeah, whatever. And then the health, stamina is totally fine. Defense, I mean, it is a fast build, so really that's why I'm using the Wolf Ring, because the 46 poise and the 6 poise that I get from the Knight's Gauntlets really did help. And then lastly, we're using the Sunlight Blade, Tranquil Walk of Peace and Wrath of the Gods. So I'll talk about my choices as I'm going through the build, and let's just get on with it. Okay, so let's get on with the build itself and have a little discussion. So the actual concept of the build was founded a good few months ago now, where I was like, I discovered what Tranquil Walk of Peace actually done, and I was like, wouldn't it be cool if you can make a build where your opponent can't go anywhere, and then they like can't do anything, and they can't block, and you're just spamming like crazy attacks at them, and then they're just like, and then die. And I'm like, oh okay, well, so I made this and had less health, and I was using Dark Moon Blade and shit, and I didn't work the stats out fully, and overall it was quite fun. And there was a prototype version of this video floating about somewhere as well. It was actually quite good, but optimised a little bit for PvP, so it worked more the way I wanted it to. So really the whole point of the build is to just Sunlight Blade or Dark Moon Blade the Shotel, and then just go to town on them. The Shotel's light attacks are really very fast, as you can see, and now what I've noticed is, although people can use like a heavier weapon on me, even if they break my poise during when they're coming to swing at me, if I'm just like rapidly hit and roll, normally I can roll away and they'll never be able to like poise lock me essentially. But what I've noticed with this is you attack so quickly with the Shotel that even if you destroy their poise, you just keep destroying it and they just can't go anywhere. So once you've got them in that lock, you're just doing so much damage that they just can't get out of it. Plus, I just like the ability to be able to just get past their guard. So it means that when you're whipping out the Shotel, it forces your opponent to play defensively, especially if you're being as aggressive as you should be with this build. Now, I mean, the build, I'm putting this down to me generally just not being very good at Dark Souls PvP, and if enough people want it, then I'll put up the the video of me getting my ass handed like 20 times to me. This one guy, man, this one fucking guy. Anyway, so yeah, if enough people want that, I'll put that up, I guess. But I played like a total of 45 games, and 2 or 3 of these were like draws, which are some in this video because they're actually quite good, and the rest I lost. So really, when it comes down to it, it was exactly 50-50 on like win to loss, which generally for Dark Souls I think is actually okay. Especially for the fact that I'm not good at Dark Souls PvP, so if I win, I'm generally winning because the build itself is quite good, as opposed to me necessarily being good, because I can't do backstabs. And okay, yeah, I could be winning because my opponent's really shit, but I'm pretty shit, so I can really only accredit it to the build itself working, because I try to do roll backstabs and shit, I just can't do it. You'll see, like, I have to win by other means, so maybe in that sense I'm actually good at PvP, who knows. Anyway, back to the discussion. So I'm using Mask of the Child and the Grasscrest Shield plus the Green Blossoms just so I can get like extreme stamina regen, which just allows me to be even more aggressive and attack quicker, because if they don't have stamina regen, then I can attack quicker than their stamina can regen for blocking. So yeah, obviously my armor's optimized by a Mugen Monkey, so you know. But the Night Gauntlets were good because in conjunction with the Wolf Ring, it gives me that little bit extra poise, so it also means that I can tank like 1 or 2 light hits, which also adds to the effectiveness of the build, because having no poise would really cripple it. And that in the prototype build it did. I was always using Ring of Favour and Protection, but I was using the Dark Woodbrain Ring, and I did like the extra mobility. Like, the whole idea behind it was a mobility class as well, but this already has enough ability, and you're just being hyper aggressive, and when you're slowing your opponent's mobility down, your mobility isn't totally necessary. Now, the reason this build works better in Battle of Stoicism is because your opponent can't fucking run anywhere, so when you use Tranquil Walk of Peace, they really can't do anything. But when you're using Tranquil Walk of Peace here, as you can see, yeah, it worked on this guy, but most of the times when I'd use it, people would just fuck off. Especially when I buff my Shotel, because people are like, well, okay, they know what's going to happen if I hit them with it, but in Battle of Stoicism they can't run anywhere. But here, a lot of the times people would just run away or run up to different enemies and shit, and then just hide behind enemies until my Sunlight Blade wore off. So yeah, that was the downside to that. As you can see, the build is extremely quick. Battles don't last long. You either win in 10 seconds or you lose, essentially. And this is one of the videos where we both win or both lose. I don't know what it would be classed as in Dark Souls. I generally find that if you both die, that tends to be the best option because you're both getting souls out of it. But we end up doing the exact same thing. Sunlight Blade, attack, attack. Both go for Wrath of Gods. Now, items wise, obviously I'm using Bullpine Resin, which was, you know, useful if I need to rebuff, but normally it's not necessary, simply because I'm winning so quickly that I just don't need to rebuff. So unless someone runs away, that's the only time, and most of the times if they're running away, they've probably won. Obviously Green Blossoms, that's a bit of a staple, and the same with Poison Thrown Knives, which were I really only used them in one match, but they effectively made us both win or both lose, whatever you class it as. Then I've got Lloyd's Talismans for when I'm invading people, which most of the time I was too busy concentrating on actually attacking people to bother with the talismans, so yeah, they weren't totally necessary. But here I'm using the Gold Tracer. Now, I only used it this one match actually, again just because I would either win or lose so quickly, but yeah, I mean I'm actually not a fan of the Gold Tracer. This kind of put me off it. It doesn't actually have that much base damage, and I was so used to just doing like 500, 400 a hit to everyone and just really quick hitting. Now I know this build can also, a lot of people use the fall shooting and they'll put like crystal magic weapon on it or something, then use power within and do insane amounts of damage. And yeah, it's kind of like that as well, but I prefer this because like people use the fall shooting because it's got the higher base damage and shit, and it's also fast. But I prefer this simply because your opponent can't guard with the Shotel either, so that's what makes it really interesting and forces your opponent to play differently than what they would normally play as. So the last thing is really just talking about the stats. 32 vitality is like totally fine with Ring of Favour and Protection. I'm happy with that amount of vitality, and even if I had more every time I lost, even if I had more vitality, I would still have lost. Endurance is a good amount because it lets me get more swings. It gets me to use a decent amount of swings with the Shotel. The Shotel doesn't actually take up that much stamina to use, so it's good in that sense. Strength was unimportant, I just needed enough to use the Shotel, and dexterity obviously 45 because I get the scaling from dex with the Shotel, and plus it allows me to cast miracles a little bit faster. I'm not sure if I really noticed the difference. I don't even know if it works with Wrath of the Gods to Tranquil Rocket Piece, but you know, whatever, still the dex is good. And then 30 Faith because I want to be able to use Sunlight Blade. Obviously I prefer to use Darkmoon Blade, but being in the Darkmoon Covenant is just too slow, really. So, you know, it's too slow for getting a video out, so just pretend I'm in the Darkmoon Covenant and I'm doing slightly more damage with the Darkmoon Blade. Obviously I'm using the Canvas Talisman because at 30 Faith that is the best talisman. If I was using 40 Faith I'd be using the Darkmoon Talisman, definitely. But obviously I'm not, don't have 40 Faith. So I guess that's it for this. I mean, I really feel bad for this guy because I just one-hit him. Like, felt really guilty. But yeah, right, this is probably the best matchup I had. He ends up like, I'm an advocate of like totally honourable dueling. Like I if someone's doing it, that's fine, they can do it. But just for me, again, the whole artistic integrity shit, I'm just like, you know what? I'm not gonna heal because if I win, I want it to be legit. If someone else heals first before me, then I'll consider it. If they're just being a dick or I've got a humanity pop and I'm just like, oh fuck you, I'm taking you down. But normally I just won't heal, and you won't see I've not healed once in any of this. So again, I'm an advocate of this whole honourable thing. And then I'm just like, what's this guy doing? They're both coming down to attack me, so I'm just like, you know what, fuck you, just kill him. And then somehow the Homing Crystal Soulmass didn't kill me there. So then I'm just chasing this bastard like the whole time, and I mean if that hit me I would have just died completely, but it didn't, so that was good. So then I'm chasing after her and I'm just like, I need to kill her before my Sunlight Blade runs out, and I've just been so aggressive, and then I get in a good few hits, but then she ends up healing, and I think I played really well here because like you can see that she's been so defensive, and she wouldn't need to be that defensive if I wasn't using the Shotel, because she knows she can't block any of my attacks. So there, healing here, and then because she stopped, I can then just get in all those hits, and then my Sunlight Blade wore off. But then what happened is I hit the wall, and somehow the attack like hitbox still goes through the wall despite I get the deflection animation, and then well, fucking get her, and I was really happy with that. So Faith Deck builds, I think I said it, are my favourite builds, definitely. Wrath of the Gods is actually like the build almost needs Wrath of the Gods, simply because it's hard to explain why. Just because it is good, but it fits the hyper aggression theme. Like you can use Wrath of the Gods to knock someone over, and then run over their body and swing as they're getting up. So if you time it right, or again, it forces your opponent to roll away, and just more aggression is best. But it's also great for just getting that last bit of health out of your opponent. Now this I thought was funny because he slows me down and then goes to go in for a backstab, and I'm just like, no, just like do it. I don't give a fuck. But you can see that, you know, battles last so fast with this, and I mean, I'm happy with the like 1 KDR. Like, I win 1, I lose 1. I'm fine. I can live with that. So this is the last battle of the video. It's me like using that. You still do a decent amount of damage with the gold pine resin on the Shotel. I thought this guy was actually going to win, but I think it was his lack of poise that actually destroyed him. Even some poise this build can stand up to quite well, simply because it does so much poise damage. But what the build actually completely fails to is, I mean, one, people that know how to backstab me, this is going to beat me regardless. But it really fails. There's actually a clip of a guy in full Giant's armor, and I get like 6 hits, and I don't kill him, I don't break his poise, and then he just stabs me 3 times with his spear, and I'm just like, oh fuck. So anyway, that's the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Make the build. It's a lot of fun. I'm not going to say it's really good. You might be better with it, but yeah. Rate, comment, subscribe, and I hope DTB6 is happy with this. So yeah, see you in the next video. Bye.